Alright, this is Rick from R&M Reviews. Today I'm going to be doing a review on Mad Murdock's Radiator Pluid. Now, for starters, you can get this juice at either 310 Vapors or thepow.com. And from 310 Vapors, I believe it is $15 per 30 milliliter bottle, whereas at Vapow it is $18 per 30 milliliter bottle, and that does not include shipping. Whereas you can get it from Mad Murdock on ECF. You can buy it from him directly for for $20 for a 30 milliliter bottle, and that includes shipping. And before I get to the flavor, the first thing that really jumps out at me about this juice is obviously that bright, almost glowing green hue to it, and it's just really out there. It looks really cool. I mean, the color in the juice actually inspired its own special edition mod. It's the Pluid edition iHybrid, which is the same bright green. And I've seen some special iHybrid edition Sagewood glass art drip tips, and even some bright green drip tips for the Zen tanks. But so the color alone really sets it apart as a really interesting juice. Now it does come in 20 milligram per milliliter, which is the standard, though 310 Vapors and I believe Vapow also offer it in 10 milligram. And from Mad Murdock you can get what he calls Cutter, which is it's like an opaque, almost milky white, and it has all of the flavoring as the normal Pluid, though it is 0 milligram. Now personally I vape my juice between 6 and 9 milligrams per milliliter, so I do 1/3 Pluid, 2/3 Cutter, so in the ballpark of 6.5 milligrams per milliliter. But I usually just eyeball it. Now, when you mix it, you do lose some of the coloring, but as you vape down your tank, it does tend to get a little bit darker than it is right now, and I just topped up my tank. But I guess the next important thing before I get to the flavoring, which is I guess the most important part of the review, but this is probably the most infamous tank cracker of any juice. If you don't have a device with either a glass, be it PYREX or fused quartz, which isn't technically glass, but same basic idea, or stainless steel, then Pluid is probably not the juice for you. I know it'll crack the Kerfonis tanks, it'll crack the AC9 tanks, it'll crack the stock Orion tanks. If you're not putting it in glass, quartz, or stainless steel, don't vape it, it'll crack your tank. I mean, he even sends it in glass bottles, as you can see. And I have even been careful about not leaving it in my rigs, because I have a feeling that if it won't crack them, it'll at least fog the glass, or fog the plastic tank section of the syringe. So be careful. It's a pretty important thing, because you wouldn't want to ruin your Orion tank, let's say, and have to wait a month to get a replacement one. But right now I have it in the Z80G on a stainless steel GGTS, and just to show off, this is my special edition 2-Rick stainless steel GGTS. And yeah, so on to the flavor. The flavor, this is a really complex juice. The first thing that sticks out is it has a black licorice taste to it, which I guess could more accurately be described as anise, like anise seeds. Anise, anise, what have you, ANIS. It's essentially a black licorice flavored seed, but really, really strong flavor to it. Besides for the anise, there are so many layers of complexity, and each time I vape it, I detect a different element to the juice on my palate that I didn't get the last time I tried it. But definitely that strong anise flavor, some citrus tones. The closest thing I can describe it to would be the Italian after dinner drink Sambuca, or maybe even Ouzo. But Sometimes I get Jägermeister, but I always put it down with like some alcoholic beverage in mind, and it does have a slight alcoholic aftertaste to it, which isn't the most desirable flavor element to me personally, but I don't drink alcohol anymore, and I anyway, that's a different story in itself, but there is a slight alcoholic taste to it, so if you're sensitive to alcohol, this might not be the juice for you. But probably the most, I don't know, describe it, like what keeps me going vaping this juice, about 75% of it is the flavor, and it really is outstanding, especially in a Genesis type atomizer. Crisp, full, sometimes with most juices, really. You'll vape it, and if you vape it consistently, I find your taste buds get kind of numb to the juice, if you know what I mean, and it loses the initial fullness that it had when you first tried it, but the flavor itself in this juice is just so strong that there's no dulling of this juice. It's just it's really, really full-bodied flavored juice, and take another quick couple of toots, but yeah, because of the anise, it has almost a menthol like cooling effect in your mouth. Uh, there's a fine film that is almost numbing, like a kind of like a Marlboro Black. Marlboro, yeah, the kind of licoricey Marlboros that whereas a menthol has a cooling effect on your lungs, the licorice adds almost a numbing effect to it, and I get a similar effect from the Pluid, which it I don't. It's not unpleasant, and it's not entirely pleasurable, but it's interesting, and it's a new element to vaping that I'd never experienced before Pluid. But I like it, and because the juice is so complex and there are so many different elements to the flavor, and I really can't do it justice because there's just so much to it, and it it's worth spending $20 to get a 30 milliliter bottle just to ponder over the flavor, and it yeah, I just keep vaping and just continuously trying to figure out what's in it and what keeps me vaping it. That alone, the mystery behind it is enough to maintain my business. But really good juice, really interesting. But mind you, I did receive this juice. I got 30 milliliters of Pluid and 60 milliliters of Cutter from Mad Murdock for free for the sake of doing a review. And if I didn't like the juice, I would be honest and I would tell you as such. But my review is as unbiased as I can make it, though. And up until receiving the Pluid for free from Murdock, I actually had never tried it before, and I've been vaping this since last Friday, so 6 days now. But really interesting juice. I really like it. I've been vaping it every day now since I got it, and with new juices, I've tried hundreds of juices at this point, and there are very few that grab my palate enough to keep me consistently vaping it, and this is without a doubt one of them, and it is by far the most complex and interesting juice, and it truly is unique, and in a community and more like a subculture at this point, frankly, the vaping world has kind of a generic sense to it now, with all of the copiers and all of the just mass-produced bullshit that's out there, and the Pluid really sets itself apart as something truly unique, and that itself, I have a lot of respect for that, and it's just uniqueness, and it's just so out of the box, from the color to the fact that it's like a malicious tank cracker, just to the ridiculous flavor. I really like it. I really like this juice, and after I finish this 90 milliliters, I'm probably gonna buy more of it. And yeah, overall, really happy. Though I have had two friends now try it. My girlfriend Allie and my buddy James, and we all did my summer e-liquid review together. But neither one of them can vape it. They can't stand it. They actually, my girlfriend in particular, doesn't even want me vaping it in the room or in her car with her, just because the licorice smell and flavor is so overpowering to them. But neither of them enjoy licorice candy, for instance. So it's not so much the juice as their personal preference, but when it comes to juice, personal preference is really what it boils down to. And if you do have a stronger version to licorice, Pluid is probably not the juice for you. So if you're open-minded or do fancy licorice, then definitely worth trying without a doubt. And even I'm not like a passionate black licorice kind of guy by any means, but yeah, I really enjoyed the Pluid, and that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I'll take a couple more rips just to show off a little, and so I'll call it a review. So. And for reference, again, this is a ZIDG. My wick is a fairly thick roll of 500 mesh, which I found is by far my favorite mesh. I find that the Flavour Wicking and vapor production are all superior to 400, 325, and 275. But coil is 3 wraps one side to the other of 30 gauge Menthol A1, and I believe, don't quote me on this, the juice is 50% VG, 50% PG, though based on your personal preference, the juice is without a doubt flavorful enough to mix it either with more PG or more VG, depending on if you want more vapor production or more throat hit. Like, you could go 50-50 Pluid and unflavored VG and still get all of the flavor, but which some people might actually prefer because it really is just so strong. But that's pretty much it. And then one last little side note. I don't know if this is just the batch I got, but can't really tell with just the pure Pluid, but with the cutter especially, the juice isn't a perfect solution. It's a mixture, meaning that at the top you can see there is a slight green film of liquid that try as I might to mix it, just floats, or it distills in the bottle a little, and then eventually those little pockets will float back up to the surface, and it's like oil and water, really. So I assume that's part of the flavoring. The first tank that I filled up, I actually pulled my syringe up to the top, and I got a significant amount of that green film, and I noticed that that tank was especially anisey. That's the right way to describe it, but that anise flavor came through much fuller than when I got a more evenly distributed tank full of the juice. But just a side note, I don't know if that's just my batch or if that's standard or what the deal is there, but it's something interesting to note. I've never had a juice that had any inconsistencies in the actual solution of the liquid, but just something interesting to throw out there. If you enjoyed, subscribe, and please leave a comment. I'd like to hear what other people have to say about their take on the flavor. This really is one of those juices that I've been trying to get as many of my friends to try it, and I've been trying to chat with people about it just to hear what they have to say about the flavor, because it really is one of those ones that by myself I can't really place exactly what's in it. I think the Sambuca is the closest that I've come to figuring it out, but again, there's just really so much to it that you really gotta just pick up a 30 milliliter bottle and try it. But that's all I got to say, so enjoy. Good night.